Welcome to Traditional Wedding Ceremonies, where we explore wedding cultures around the world, one episode at a time. Today, we journey into the world of the Han Chinese, the largest ethnic group in the world. The Han people make up over 90% of China's population, and their communities extend across Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, and parts of Thailand. Though they span borders and speak different dialects, Han families are often united by a shared cultural foundation, one in which marriage is not only the union of two people, but the coming together of two families, two lineages, and even two ancestral realms. In Han tradition, a wedding isn't something that simply happens on a single day. It's the result of careful planning, ritual, negotiation, and spiritual alignment, a progression known as the three letters and six rites, or Sanshu Liuli. These rites, some of which have been followed for over 2,000 years, remain an enduring framework for traditional Han marriages, especially among families who still value the continuity of custom. Let's start at the very beginning, not with the wedding day, but with the moment that marriage becomes a possibility. In ancient times, courtship wasn't so much a personal affair as it was a family decision. If a man's family thought he was ready for marriage, they'd enlist a matchmaker to reach out to a suitable girl's family. Today, most couples fall in love and date first, but in many families, especially those with strong ties to tradition, a degree of formality still kicks in once marriage is on the table. And that's where the six rites begin. The first step, called nakai, is the formal proposal. A representative from the groom's side, often still a matchmaker, approaches the bride's family, expressing the intent to marry and offering gifts to show sincerity. If the bride's family is open to the idea, the process moves into the second step, known as wenming, literally asking the name. But it's more than just asking her name. The groom's family formally requests the bride's birth details, specifically the year, month, day, and hour she was born, according to the Chinese lunar calendar. These details form what's known as her biazi, or 8 characters, which are then analyzed for astrological compatibility with the grooms. A favorable match suggests harmony and good fortune. An ill matched pair may raise concerns. Now comes the third step, Naji, the ritual of receiving the fortune. At this stage, the bride's birth data is placed on the groom's ancestral altar. If no misfortune befalls the household over the next few days, the ancestors are considered to have blessed the union. Once both families feel confident, the process moves to the fourth step, Najang, the presentation of betrothal gifts. This is one of the most ceremonial and festive stages. The groom's family arrives bearing boxes of symbolic items, dried fruits and pastries, wine, seafood, tobacco, tea, and, in many regions, a roast pig, which traditionally symbolizes purity. Also included is the bride price, or pin jin, a red envelope filled with money. Its amount varies widely depending on the region and the relationship between the families. In return, the bride's family sends huili, or reciprocal gifts, which might include jewelry, new clothing, household items, and most importantly, the dowry, or jiāo. The dowry is intended to help the bride start her new life and might include everything from red bedding to kitchenware, mirrors, furniture, and often a tea set for the upcoming tea ceremony. In southern China, this part of the process can be quite elaborate. In the north, it's usually simpler but no less significant. Then comes Qing Kuwa, the fifth step, where both families consult a fortune teller or an auspicious calendar to choose the wedding date. In traditional Han belief, the success of a marriage begins with timing. The selected day must harmonize with both the bride and groom's birth elements and avoid clashes with family zodiac signs. With the date set, preparations begin. One of the most meaningful pre-wedding rituals is the installation of the bridal bed, or chuang. A respected woman, someone whose parents are still alive and who has a happy marriage and healthy children, is invited to set up the bed. Red linens are used and items like red dates, lotus seeds, longans, and peanuts are scattered across the sheets. These are not random snacks. Each one carries a wish. Together they form phrases like early birth of sons and many children and blessings. On the night before the wedding, the bride and sometimes the groom partake in the hair combing ceremony, or shutuli. In a quiet, candlelit room, a female elder gently combs the bride's hair 4 times, each stroke accompanied by a poetic blessing. The first comb is for a lifelong union, the second for harmony in marriage, the third for many children and grandchildren, and the fourth for a long and fulfilling life. Afterward, the bride eats sweet dumplings, a tang yuan, to symbolize a sweet, complete union. Finally, the sixth rite arrives, Kuan Ying, the wedding day itself, where the groom goes to fetch the bride. This part of the ceremony is lively and often light-hearted. The groom, accompanied by groomsmen and musicians, arrives at the bride's home. But he can't enter so easily. He must first pass the door games, or namenguan. The bridesmaids block the entrance and challenge the groom with playful tasks, riddles, songs, sometimes even physical feats or red envelope bribes. It's all in good fun, a final test of his sincerity and determination. Once inside, the groom presents a bouquet and retrieves the bride. Her face may be covered by a red veil, called hongai tu, which he will later lift as a symbol of unveiling their new life together. As they leave, the bride may carry a red umbrella, shielding her from bad luck and symbolizing fertility. Firecrackers crackle in celebration as the couple travels to the groom's family home. There, the most sacred ritual takes place, the tea ceremony or jiāo. This is where the bride is formally introduced into the groom's family. The couple kneels before the elders, offering tea in order of seniority. Each act of tea serving is met with blessings, words of advice, and often red envelopes or gold jewelry. The tea itself may be infused with lotus seeds or red dates, once again symbolizing fertility and sweetness. Sometimes the bride and groom return to the bride's family later for a second tea ceremony, especially in cases where both families wish to preserve tradition equally. The final celebration is the wedding banquet, or xiyan. This is a feast not just of food, but of symbolism. Fish represents abundance. Noodles are for longevity. Lotus seeds and red beans, yes, again, for fertility. A whole chicken served with its head and feet attached represents completeness. Depending on the region, there might be 10, 12, or even more elaborate courses, each one more meaningful than the last. In some weddings, the couple performs the cross-cupped wine ritual, or jiāo, where they link arms and drink, symbolizing the bond of partnership. But even after the banquet, the rituals aren't quite over. A few days later, there's hui men, the bride's return visit to her parents' home. She and her new husband come bearing gifts and gratitude. It's a beautiful gesture that shows she may be married, but her roots and obligations to her natal family remain respected and intact. While all of these rituals form the traditional structure, there are countless regional and modern variations. In southern China, weddings tend to be more elaborate and ceremonial, with higher bride prices and more emphasis on gift exchange. In the north, they're often simpler, with more focus on the tea ceremony and banquet. Across the Han diaspora, in places like Singapore, Malaysia, and overseas Chinese communities, these customs have evolved. Some families blend them with Western traditions. A bride might wear both a white gown and a red qi. The ceremony may include vows and rings, but also tea and ancestral homage. Some couples even stage photo shoots in historical Han attire or hold Confucian revival weddings in full Hanfu, bowing not just to parents but to ancient values. And yet, beneath all these variations, the core values remain the same: filial piety, harmony, legacy, and respect. Our Han wedding isn't just about starting a new life. It's about honoring the lives that came before, the families, the ancestors, the customs, while planting the seeds for a future filled with joy, responsibility, and shared blessings. Thank you for walking this path with us through the traditional Han Chinese wedding. In our next episode, we'll travel west to explore the vibrant marriage rituals of the Ashanti people of Ghana, where drumming, color, and ancestral spirits guide the union of two clans. Until then, stay curious and see you at the next ceremony.